Let's preview Saturday in the NBA. There are 11 games on. There's an early start. There are players moving all over the country trying to get to their new teams. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and buy me Bone Storm or go to hell. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Also, check out lockedondaily.com. Give it a subscribe, chuck your email in there. You get the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. That is lockedondaily.com. All right, we're here to talk about the games on Saturday. There are 11 of them on. Thank you to everybody who was a part of the live trade deadline show yesterday, as well as the trade deadline recap. I didn't do a standard Thursday recap show. Again, there was way too much work for me to be doing in terms of adjusting the projections of 300 NBA players at least, just to get everything balanced. Then producing a trade deadlines winners and losers show. So I just didn't have the energy. I was in bed by 6:30 p.m. last night, trying to get things. No, actually, that's not true. I wasn't in bed. I was asleep on the couch at 6:30, in bed at 8 o'clock. Trying to get all that stuff sorted. But we're back here. We're talking about the games on Saturday. Remember, we are heading into the All-Star break. So games end on Thursday for this upcoming week as well. So just be prepared for that. Also, it is Opera Day. So if any of you guys want to drop a sonata on us, if any of you tenors out there want to give us your best high Ds, is that a thing? I don't know. Maybe just drop it there. Today's your day. Today's your day to celebrate the opera. All right, we are talking about these games. There is going to be a lot of uncertainty across the next few days as players arrive and play and maybe play. And also remember this, is that we are, like I said, less than a week away from the All-Star break as well. So new players will arrive and teams will be cautious about how do we mix this rotation in? How does this new guy play? And then they sit down over their 7 days off over the All-Star break and they go, all right, this is what's happening. You are coming to the bench. You are starting. You are in this role. You are in this role. So don't be surprised when Mark Williams goes to the Lakers and plays off the bench for 22 minutes for a couple of games and then plays 30 minutes after the break. Don't be shocked at things like that. Don't be shocked at weirdness where certain players play and then they're done in a week's time, right? This is the weird period of the season. So not overreacting, but reacting appropriately is really important. First game, it's an early one. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, I believe. I'm going to double check that. I don't want to lead you astray on times. I think I did that once and it haunts me forever. It's a 2 p.m. Central time game in Dallas, Houston, at the Mavericks, and obviously there are interesting things happening, especially in Dallas. Both of these teams are in a Schedule Plus spot. Now, I will, again, tell you about Schedule Plus and how the schedule goes. We've got 11 games on Saturday. We've got a busy 10-game Monday. We have got every single team, because this league is based with idiots running the schedule, we've got every team playing on Wednesday, 15 games on Wednesday. Oh, it's because they're having day. I know why they theorized to do it. It is insane to do that. All teams play on Wednesday, so that is obviously not a streaming day. 11 on Saturday, maybe. That's the day we're talking about. 10 on Monday, maybe. Every other day, definitely. Right, so Schedule Plus, it's teams. Usually I do teams who've got 4 games in 6 nights, but with Wednesday not counting, because no one could stream on that day, looking at teams who have got 3 games that don't include Wednesday as a Schedule Plus spot. So Houston and Dallas both fall into that. Houston is also the only team with a weekend back-to-back. And then next, all of their games coming up are back-to-back. So they play Saturday, Sunday. They're off Monday, Tuesday. They play Wednesday, Thursday, which is actually terrible news for Tari Eason, by the way. In terms of who is out, Jabari Smith is out. Fred VanVleet is out. I don't know if Steven Adams is going to play. I don't think he plays both these games, but now he's dealing with ankle soreness. So look, yeah, he might be in, he might be not. I'm not sure. I think Tari Eason's going to play on Saturday, then sit on Sunday. And then for Dallas, Dwight Powell's out, Derek Lively's out, Caleb Martin is out after he was traded there. He's still dealing with that hip injury. PJ Washington missed their last game. I'll put him questionable here, but what we do know is it is Anthony Davis time. He is arriving and he is getting ready to play. So I hope PJ plays, so we get a data point of all of those guys, Gafford, Washington, and Davis all playing together. Last game, we got a lot from Cam Whitmore for the Rockets, so I want to watch that again. Is it real to expect him to score that much? No, but it's also not real to expect him to be that inefficient, which he was also. So we watched that role. I don't think he's a 12-team league guy, though. And on the Mavs, it is about the Daniel Gafford thing. Is he playing 32 minutes? You'll also note that ever since that Davis trade happened, even though Gafford's minutes are fine, his production's dropped way off. He was rolling as literally the number 2 fantasy player for a period of time. And it's fallen way down. And I think it's going to keep falling down. Not to be dropped, but you never know. Stream guys, you got Dylan Brooks as a pretty good stream there in Houston. You could go, obviously Tari Eason is the guy you look at ahead of him, but I'm guessing he's rostered in most spots. And then I think Max Christie, who's played 29 minutes in each of the last 2 games, I do have some concerns that when Davis arrives, it pushes a bunch of guys into different spots. Davis is going to play his 34 minutes, so somebody's missing out. So that means a little bit out off of Gafford, but if both Davis and Washington play, I don't think that Christie's going to be a 12-team league player, but I think he's going to be worth streaming, and the first 2 games have been pretty impressive from him. The next game is another one that involves, it's Anthony Davis's former team, isn't it? We're not going to get Luka Doncic debuting here for the Lakers. These 2 teams don't have a positive or negative schedule coming up. I really don't think Miles Turner's going to play. He copped a whack in the head on Thursday. He was sort of stumbling around. Then he was ruled out immediately, evaluated in concussion protocol. If he doesn't have a concussion, that is unbelievably good news. I'll be very surprised. And I would be very, very, very uncertain that he would play here. I don't think he's not playing. I don't think he's playing, Miles Turner. Luka's out. Christian Wood is out. Is he ever coming back? Honestly, it does not feel like Christian Wood is ever playing. And then Mark Williams, I've got there as a questionable tag because I don't know if he's going to be available for the trade. We heard some reporting after the trade went through that the Hornets wanted to move off of Mark Williams because they think his back might be rooted. Ooh, I wonder why that is. I wonder why they would think that. Interesting that the Lakers gave up a unprotected first and a pick swap to do that. I hope he's okay. For the Pacers, last game it was Obi Toppin who started the second half over Thomas Bryant. You know, I've said this about Thomas Bryant, tall but healed, that teams get him, he comes in, he plays a good game, and they go, oh my God, Thomas Bryant, let's go. And then they watch and they go, I know we've got no other centers, but what if we played 4 guys instead? What if we just went one less? We've got nobody else, but we can't have this man out there. It is a cycle. It's the 70% Moses Brown. And I don't know if they'll start Toppin. They probably won't. But just watch to see how they use him. For the Lakers, Rui Hachimura, dreadful in the last game. You know my thoughts on Rui. I think that when Luka arrives, his value is probably not going to be super interesting. But all you guys seem to froth him for some reason. So, let's see what happens. Tom Bryant is a stream guy for the Pacers as much as I despise his actual on-court game. And then Dorian Finney-Smith is a good Lakers stream option for this day. Hawks and Wizards, there is just a million players on this injury report. They're both coming in on a back-to-back as well, so we'll get a little bit more information from them on Friday. But Clint Capella's out, personal reasons. Now, he wasn't traded. I've no idea what the Hawks are doing, honestly. I know that they traded DeAndre Hunter out, and that's fine. They got a couple of players back, but they gave away draft picks with Bogdan Bogdanovic because they wanted Terrence Mann, Bones Highland. What? So I don't get that. Obviously, there was issues with Bogdanovic and Capella that with how they just sat him out, right? So is Capella going to play at all? He's an expiring contract. Will he just say, get me out of here. I want to go somewhere else. But remember that he can't sign on a team that's above the aprons. So I don't know. I just think that we actually might be in a spot where Capella doesn't play here. And then I don't know whether Levert or Niang or Mann or Highland are going to play. They might. I don't know, though. They're all the guys that arrived in the trade. And that is 4 players in, 2 out. So those rotations are going to get a little squishy. Trae Young is also probable for them on Friday, so we'll see whether he plays Saturday. And then for the Wizards, does Marcus Smart or Chris Middleton play after they were traded? Does Malcolm Brogdon play? What are those 3 players doing on this team? What are they going to do? This is why I'm a little bit hesitant about Keyshawn George and about Bub Carrington, about Justin Champagnie, because I don't know what they're going to do. Richaun Holmes also listed questionable. AJ Johnson came across in the trade. Don't know if he's going to play. And then Champagne's questionable for something else. So there's just, look at how many, that's a million pieces and parts that I just don't know about. For the Hawks, Ricochet does remain a stream option, but it could be Niang. It could be Christie. It could be Christie. It could be Niang. It could be Levert. That's who I was trying to say. It could be Man, but probably not. It could be Krejci. That's what I was trying to say. For the Wizards, it is probably Keyshawn George, but it could be Corey Kispert. George didn't do anything usage-wise last game. These teams are feeling incredibly, incredibly messy. Today's episode, it's not messy. It's brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That is over 8x the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk, rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 per month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost. Over 8x the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. We're getting our way through Saturday's games here. Spurs Magic is the next one. And this one shouldn't be too impacted by trade deadline stuff because the Magic made no moves and the Spurs made their moves already. Charles Bassey sprained his MCL. They said about a week. Yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about that. And obviously they don't have Zach Collins anymore, so it means Sandro Mamakilishvili is going to have to be the backup center. Patrick Baldwin was acquired in a trade. Don't care. Not going to play. And then Jalen Suggs' thigh contusion continues. And I really wish, I know that we've moved away from using the word bruise to contusion, but then a lot of people caught on that a contusion means bruise. So therefore they label players soft. He's just a bruise. How could he be out with a bruise? Emmanuel Quickly's got a contusion. How could he be out with a bruise? I wish we had a better word for it, like gigantic spreading blood clot, because that's literally what it is. Right? That is, you know what? If you don't know what a bruise is, that is what a bruise is. It is blood clotting. And if it is deep inside the thigh, which I'm guessing this is, because if there's one thing Jalen Suggs is, or Jalen Suggs isn't, is weak as piss. This is one of the hardest men that go around in the NBA. I don't know how hard, I haven't tested the hardness of all these men, but he's hard at it, right? So I wish we had a different word, like blood clot, thigh clot, because that's, I'm guessing, what's happening. Now he's doubtful again, so he's not going to play. Last game, it was Mr. Black who played more than Cole Anthony. Do I want to trust Anthony Black? Not in a million years. Not at all. This is a back-to-back for the Spurs, by the way. What we do want to watch is Goga Bitadze. And this is, I have this idea, and it's been something more of a theory I've lent into more this season, right? Is that, sure, Goga can be good. Right? There's no question that he's had some good runs. I have talked at length how I believe that Jamal Mosley will want to use Wendell Carter and his theoretical shooting, which is horrendous, by the way, his theoretical shooting next to Paolo and next to Franz. Now, Goga is starting, but you've seen it the last couple of games. Goga's minutes are down. And while Goga can have good value, the fact that at any point Mosley can go, right, 18 minutes, makes him very tough to roster. It's not to say that there can't be a good run. But if you play 28 minutes and then you go to 24, then go to 28 and then 26, then 24, that's good. But if you go so at the moment, my best case is 26, and then I might play 18, and that can happen at any point. Plus, I can also have bad games in big minutes. That level of floor value is harder to hold on to. When your downside is down there, having you just as a guy to hold at all times makes it really difficult. So I do want to watch Goga because he might just move on to that cut list for me pretty quickly. I think for some of you, if you tell me you're in a 10-team league and you got Goga, get rid of him. I wouldn't bother with that at all. There's too much variance and fluctuation. So who am I streaming in? It's probably Sohan for the Spurs. We're going to get another data point on Friday, but we saw him play more minutes than Barnes. I'd like to see that happen again. And then Cole Anthony is probably the stream for Orlando, but much like with Goga, he's not a must-roster player because those minutes can adjust really at any point and adjust poorly. The Warriors and the Bulls, this is an interesting game. We are going to see players debut. I don't really care about the Bulls ones, but we obviously do care about the ones in Golden State. It's also a Schedule Plus spot for the Warriors. The bucket is out, John Kuminga. Guy Santos, Al Helper, is dealing with a knee issue. I don't think that he plays, but it looks like Jim Butler will play. Now, we're going to get more information when Butler plays, when Kuminga's there, because that's going to be a key part of looking at how this rotation works. But Jimmy is going to be there against his former team. Revenge game? All right. For the Bulls, Dalen Terry, Talen Horton-Tucker, don't think they're playing. Lonzo Ball's dealing with an illness. Jalen Smith is questionable for personal reasons. Now, I don't know this 100%. I've never spoken to the man. But I have heard, secondhand information. That part of the reason, I've said this a million times, part of the reason Jalen Smith chose to go to the Bulls on a contract which is very similar to what the Pacers had offered him was he was under the impression that he would have an opportunity to start. And it is very curious to me that the day after the trade deadline, when Nikola Vucevic had been rumored to be traded for months and should have been traded for months, that as soon as he wasn't traded, that Smith is questionable for personal reasons. It could be completely unrelated. I hope everything's okay with him. I do have Smith rostered in a league still that's a deeper roster because he'd actually been producing enough in low minutes. And if they decide they're going to, because the quotes out of the Chicago front office are bonkers. They are so stupid. Every move this front office makes, you should look at it and go, you're an idiot. Even if you think it's good, just immediately default to they're idiots. Because they are. I don't know what every move they make is doing. So I would, do they fake injure Vooch? Whose production's already dropping significantly. I don't know. I don't know. And then there's the new players, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins. Don't tell me they actually use those guys and play them over the other guys they've got. Who knows, man. I want to watch Moses Moody. He played 32 minutes last game. His shooting could be really important. There are opportunities here. Is Buddy Hield the guy? Well, probably not, but we'll see whether they decide to use him that way. And then they did sign Quentin Post to that full contract, which we thought they would. Odosumu is the guy to watch on Chicago. I haven't been particularly impressed with IO of late. Still rostering him, but let's watch the role, especially with Lonzo back. Stream guys, Bud Hield is probably that player. Could be Pajemski. Also, the Bulls want it easily much as Buzelis. He's just a must-roster player, but the roster number is still incredibly low on Yahoo. I would want to really see whether he holds this starting spot, or do they go back to the 4-point guard look, which is, curious. Let's go to the next one. It is the Thunder and the Grizzlies. We're in Memphis for this game. It's a back-to-back for the Thunder. It's a Schedule Plus spot for the Thunder. I don't think that the Hong Kong mattress Carson Wallace is going to play. He hurt his shoulder, it appears, and they've done this with Alex Caruso all season, where it's like, this is actually a 3-week injury, but we're just not going to tell you. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's the situation for Wallace. And Chet Holmgren, I'm putting as doubtful. Now, Chet's back. He's playing on Friday. But there's no chance he plays the back-to-back, surely. That's why I've got him doubtful. Not that he's not returning, because he's back. He's playing on Friday. But I don't think he plays on Saturday. Usman Jeng is questionable as well. And then for the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane and then Marvin Bagley, their big trade deadline acquisition. He's also out. I want to see what minutes they give to Vince Williams, because obviously the 18 minutes that Marcus Smart played last game are not there anymore. So does Vince get them, or is his body not ready for that? Is G.G. Jackson getting them? How do they run this rotation now that they took 2 of the players out of the rotation? Does Lil John Conchar get it? I don't know. In terms of stream guys, Lou Dort is probably the Thunder guy to me, although Pig Williams would be a little bit in there, especially because I don't think Chet's there. And then the Duck, Luke Kennard. With Desmond Bane out, Kennard is an option for us. Next game, it is Portland. It is Minnesota. The Blazers, the giant killing Blazers. Imagine they pull this one off as well. They just can't lose. I don't know what is going on. Schedule Plus spot for Minnesota. Thibauld's going to be out. Randall's going to be out. DiVincenzo's going to be out. For the Blazers, I said this the other day, and then people said to me, "No, Josh, you're overreacting. It's just a blowout." As I said, as soon as I said, yeah, look, I was very down on Denny. I didn't believe that Denny Avdia was a super good player, that he was an interesting role player who would probably find it hard to get enough usage in Portland, and he'd be a bench guy most of the time. I was right for a period of time, and then I've been wrong, and I said that I was wrong. And as soon as I said that, Bros played 30 minutes in 1 out of 6 games. He played like 18 minutes last game. What is happening? Portland people watching the Blazers, Portland insiders, all these people watching go, man, Denny's playing like our best player. And ever since they said that, he just doesn't play. Some of it is blowout related, yes. But like I've said all along, I feel like there are just too many guys there. And he's not playing well. So we need to watch it. I don't know that he's a drop. But I'm not going to rule that out later on. See, look, if he plays 18 minutes a night, you're definitely not holding him. So we want to see what the hell's going on. For the Wolves, this is only a double onyx, diamond, titanium, platinum league sort of spot. But don't look now. Jalen Clark's playing well. And Jalen Clark's a two-way guy who had a torn Achilles in UCLA, didn't play at all his rookie season. He played more minutes than Rob Dillingham. He's more of a shooting guard / point guard, but really strong defensively, and he hit his threes in the last game. So you just watch. He played 21 minutes. He's a name just to watch at the moment. Deeper leagues, you grab him, I think. And I think there is... I think I wrote this on Basketball Monster, talked about it. I said, look, if you want to think about the type of archetype this player can be, type of archetype is horrendous English, by the way, sorry. Think DeAnthony Melton. I know someone said, he's definitely not DeAnthony Melton. He's a hybrid point guard, shooting guard who maybe can shoot, but is very strong defensively, which is exactly what Melton is. Right? I don't think he can get as good as Melton. He might. But we are 2 years removed from his torn Achilles now, Jalen Clark. We just watched this one really closely. In terms of stream guys, Shaden Sharp, Scoot's rostered, and I think he should be, but the Sharp Scoot back and forth is going to frustrate us. Sharp is probably streamable here, and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is likely going to be the Wolves streaming guy for me, even though he is very up and down with his production. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. When you're looking for tickets for your next big event, concert, comedy show, sports event, whatever it is, the right ticket at the right price can be a headache, but with Game Time picks, it has never been easier. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals, so you don't have to waste that time searching through endless ticket listings. And when you use Game Time Picks, and I'm going to be using it when I'm heading across to the States later on, I'm going to be getting there so I can see their super deals. I want to get those prime tickets at good value, and the seat view is going to be awesome. Now, I've been to some of these places before, but some of them I haven't, so I don't know what the seats are going to look like in these particular seats. So before I hit buy, I can see exactly what I'm going to be seeing. And the best part is that you are covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. So if you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's go through the remaining games here. Boston and New York, nothing really deadline related here, so that's at least a positive for us in terms of trying to figure out what's going on. Drew Holiday is listed questionable for the Celtics. Mitchell Robinson's going to be out, and we don't have, I'm just going to double check whether we do have it or not. We don't have an update, no we don't, on OG Anunoby, who did some work in practice. I would say he probably doesn't play, but I don't know. Pacom Dadier is questionable, and DeLon Wright came across at the deadline. Maybe he gets minutes, but it's Tom Thibodeau. He's not going to be just willy-nilly expanding the rotation. Last game was really good for Peyton Pritchard. He got big minutes, but that game was a weird one where believe there was their deep bench players like Drew Peterson that played 8 minutes, the last 8 minutes of the game, and got him back to make the margin closer, and that helped Pritchard. So we just keep watching his role. And then Karl Anthony Towns, who I did say was a buy low, and people often misinterpret what I say there. When I said he was a buy low, then he had a big game, and people were like, yeah, as if he's a buy low. He was, but then he played better, and now I hope he continues to play better. Streams, Al Horford, he looks cooked. Luke Cornett's playing more than him. Is that going to be something that happens again? We got to watch that, obviously. And then Precious Achiuwa, the big sneeze, who would definitely get a big bump if OG Anunoby is out. Shout out to Bumps. Denver and Phoenix is the next game that we're going to take a look at. We're in Phoenix for this one. Whatever this Suns garbage is, why they have the Phoenix front office. I know they've had success, right? They made the NBA Finals. They made swings and traded for Kevin Durant and new owners coming. But I think that nearly every move they have made, nearly everything they have done over the last 5 years, I've just been like, that's dumb. What are you doing? It's like when they said, we don't care about draft picks, we don't care about scouts, we're not sending anybody out to do this. They would leave their rosters empty and have 13 guys on there. They wouldn't even bring in players to training camp. They would sign no two-way guys. They wouldn't have any development stuff. They wouldn't have a G League team. What are you guys doing? And they started to change that stuff. And then they got Kevin Durant. They gave out a lot, but all right, they got him. And then they traded for Bradley Beal. What are you doing with this deal? And now they're openly trying to bring in Jimmy Butler, which makes no sense. And they were going to prioritize Butler over Durant. Then they're making Beal's life miserable. What are they doing with any of this stuff? I don't get it. Anyway, Denver. Chanchar out, Watson out, Westbrook out. Jamal Murray missed the last game. Put him questionable here. Cody Martin's now in Phoenix. He's out. Vasilije Micic, I don't think he's going to play. This is a back-to-back for Phoenix. He's out for Friday. I don't think he plays. I don't even know that he plays when he's healthy anyway. And then Brad Beal and Kevin Durant are both questionable for Friday. Durant missed the last game with an ankle sprain. Beal's been on it. I don't know what the hell is going on with this team. For Denver, Aaron Gordon to me is a fringe 12-teamer, not a must-roster player. So we just continue to watch his role, his minutes, his production. And then if Jamal Murray is out, it was Julian Strawther who started last game. So they basically ran without a point guard because there was Christian Brown and Strawther and Porter and Gordon and Jokic. It's a very weird lineup. But honestly, their other point guard option is Jalen Pickett. But Strawther's interesting, and maybe it would be Pickett if Murray is out. And then Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen become the stream guys in Phoenix, especially if both Durant and Bealo are out. Pelicans and the Kings is the next game. There is a lot to look at in New Orleans. Some of the key deadline stuff is going to be happening here. They're both in a Schedule Plus spot as well. Jordan Hawkins sprained his ankle. It looked pretty significant, so I'm going to put him as doubtful. And then we don't know about Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk. I would love that they say that they're available, and then I would love if they don't play, because that gives us a really clear indication. Jose Alvarado also missed the last game due to illness. He hadn't been starting with DeJounte out. Will they start him? I don't know. Will they go small again, or will they go big again with Trey at the 2, Zion at the 3, Makovich at the 4? We want to see it, don't we? Zion, by the way, just quietly playing very well. Minutes are down. He's only playing 28, but he's actually putting up big numbers. So we just keep watching that. And then for the Kings, it was good assist numbers for DeMar DeRozan in the last one, but it's all about like the DeRozan-Levine pairing again, how it all fits together, what it means for Keon Ellis, what happens, because last game, don't get excited. Jonas Valanciunas played 17 minutes. You know why? Because Sabonis played 29. Why did Sabonis play 29? He fouled out. This is not that vindication of Valanciunas eating into Sabonis, I don't believe. We watch it again, but I don't think that's what happened. Who am I streaming in? Carlo Makovich. That could completely do nothing, though. They might say he's back to the bench and he plays 16 minutes behind Misi, or Olynyk takes him out of the rotation, which again would be idiotic, but we'll see. And then Keon Ellis on the Kings, who got his 24 minutes or so last game. That was interesting. There's still no Jake LaRavia on that team. Maybe he's available. I don't know. Ellis still, to me, is just a guy that you stash waiting for an injury, because what he's doing at the moment is not enough. The last game we look at is Utah and the Clippers. This is a back-to-back for the Jazz, second half of a back-to-back for them. They're also in a Schedule Plus spot. Sexton is out for at least a week here, and Markkanen and John Collins are both playing on Friday, so I believe they will sit on Saturday. Jordan Clarkson is out on Friday, so I think he plays on Saturday. And then Cody Williams and KJ Martin. Martin is out on Friday after being traded. Now, I erroneously said on the trade recap show that KJ Martin was being waived. That was incorrect. The guys that I meant to say were being waived were Jalen Hood-Schifino and Josh Richardson. They are keeping KJ Martin. So will he play a part in minutes? And then Cody Williams, who's honestly been the worst per-minute fantasy producer in the NBA, I would say. We'll see whether he gets a role. So Clarkson, I think, will play. Then there's the two Clippers arrivals, Bogdan Bogdanovic and Marjon Beauchamp. Beauchamp, I don't know why I took so much time to pronounce his name when he does not matter at all, but Bogdanovic does. And where does he fit in? Because it wasn't like Terrence Mann was playing 25 minutes a night, so someone is going to get carved down to get Bogdanovic into that mix. For the Clippers, Kawhi played 33 minutes last night, so he's back 4 minutes now. It's done. It's minutes limit over, apparently. Back-to-backs, I'm still thinking is going to be a problem, but he's back. Streamers, Isaiah Collier. I don't think there's any hit to Isaiah Collier's values here, so he remains a must-roster player. And then Derek Jones is probably the Clippers' stream guy, I would say. There is no... the only back-to-back is the Rockets. The chunky stuff, there's too many high-volume days here, and no one has a real advantage in that. And we don't have 7 games coming up to do 5s and 2s, because the games end on Thursday. So what we're going to do is go straight into the daily streaming options and look at the streams of the day. Mike Conley sits there as a 10-team guy. 12-team, it's Carlo Makovich with an incredible level of caution. 14-team, I'm going Corey Kispert. And 16-team, Tom Bryant with Miles Turner likely out. Yahoo points, Matas Buzelis still widely available. And then for ESPN points, I'm going to go with Io DeSumo. For 10-team category leagues, we go a little bit deeper into it here. Of course, it is Conley, then Makovich, Buddy Hield, Keyshawn George, Cole Anthony, and Tom Bryant. The George one and Carrington and associated Champagnes in Washington could be significantly impacted if Smart /Brogdon /Middleton play, but we don't know. 12-team streaming options, Alex Caruso. We've got Corey Kispert, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Royce O'Neal, who could really jump up if Durant and Beal are out, Derek Jones, and then Precious Achiuwa, who would also jump up if OG Anunoby is sidelined. Then it's deeper leagues. These are 14-team plus: Obi Toppin, Luke Kennard, Vince Williams, Larry Nance, because I don't expect Clint Capella to play, Aaron Wiggins, and Modi Muzi. For Yahoo Points Leagues, Matas Bazalis tops the list, followed by Jordan Clarkson, who I expect to play, Cole Anthony, Ayodosumu, Budrick Hield, and Isaiah Collier. And if my computer can deal with it, the last slide is ESPN points. Is it going to make it? We have got there, yes. Ayodosumu, Matas Bazalis, Cole Anthony, Bud Hield, Keyshawn George, and Jordan Clarkson. And that is a preview show for a topsy-turvy Saturday. Early starts. Get your lineups set. Guys, hit the thumb, hit the subscribe. Thanks for all of the people watching. Anyone who's new as well, welcome to you guys. And I believe there has been some, because people have said comments. Man, I haven't just found you this week, which is awesome. Love to have you guys here. Appreciate it. And hopefully you have some fun while getting some information in. Keep everything going positive. Keep it crispy. Keep it looking good. And guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.